we've got a little bit of time here. Let's talk to Jamie calling in from Texas. And Jamie says it is not the end times, and it aggravates him when people say it is. Hi, Jamie. I think I agree with you.
Hello. Thanks again for taking my call. And again, I'm paranoid that people are going to get sick of my voice because I keep calling into different shows.
Your voice. No, I appreciate you calling in. Your voice is always oddly soothing. So.
Okay. Well, so yeah, I actually get properly aggravated when people say it's the end times for several reasons. Oh, and a little side note: I have a personal beef with the Jehovah's Witness Church, which I could go into, but that's another call.
Ooh, could you now?
So first of all, how many Armageddons have we survived? Well, there was 2000 and 2012, and then
there's a Google. I think there's a wiki doc on this. Actually, I don't know. I have to pull it up. But yeah, it's a lot.
So I'm kind of bored of Armageddons. They seem to be extremely mundane. Like the worst you get is us. It rains out. Oh well, guess it's the end of the world. But that's more the fringes. The people like, it's going to end next week, promise. They're either hucksters or delusional, and that's fine. But when we come to the more serious sort of sects, they're like, the end times are coming and we must prepare, and therefore, it's usually, from my standpoint as an atheist and skeptic, a arrogant, selfish excuse to essentially big up the in-group, do whatever the heck you like, and screw everyone else because the world's ending anyway. So why not use all the petrol that you like? Why not rip up the ozone layer? Why not be bigoted, horrible, and terrible and indulge in every single thing because Jesus said so? And it just really, really annoys me. And then there's a last point, which is the cynicism lets people give up. And they don't realize, as Stephen Fry said, like he was asked, where would you go if you had a time machine? And he said, people think, I'd go and be a Regency dandy, or I'd go and meet Albert Einstein. No, I want to live now, because now is the best time. It is, despite all things to the contrary. The bad stuff is temporary. We'll get Roe overturned again eventually. We will fight and we will win. Things will get better eventually.
What's a secular version of amen?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, just say it. Who cares? God.
Amen. I mean, what does it mean? It means like let it be, or let it be so, or something. We agree. I agree. Yeah, I am feeling everything you said. I love what you said. I agree with that. I think it is so frustrating when you see you can't always 100% say that this is why. You can't know people's motivation, but it sure does seem like it times that people are claiming that the ends are coming because there's a lack of responsibility there, right? And I feel myself getting all
Congress thing. There was some Congress thing I just posted a video of, but this dude was talking about how he is a steward of the earth.
Yeah, I saw that.
Dude, if you were a steward of the earth, then that would mean you would be an environmentalist. You would take care of the earth. You would see it as precious resources that we need to sustain ourselves.
Right.
But instead, you see it as something you own, because they think everything is property. So they own women, they own the planet, they own children. Everything's about what they can control. It has nothing to do with wanting to take care of it. They don't take care of women, and they were supposedly the head of the household. They still beat people and didn't give us our rights, right? We had to demand that stuff. It wasn't just given to us. Stewards of my butthole. Sorry.
Keep going. You got this.
I'm sure there's someone out there that would be happy to be paid to be a steward of someone's butthole, but anyway, each their own.
We don't kink shame. We're not going to kink shame on here, all right?
Oh, no. No kink shaming here.
No,
probably on Thursday. But the one thing
Thursday somewhere.
I don't want to take too much of your time, because there's not much discussion other than just backpatting like, end time's not happening. Yeah, I agree. But I will say this. It is easy to start falling, not to bring it a little bit more broad, it's very easy to get sucked into cynicism and despondency because of short-term losses that are big, the problems. overturning of Roe, the dangers of the new Supreme Court, global warming, price inflation. But remember, the humanity has gone through plagues and wars and genocides, and like there are very few things that are actually going to end us as a species. We are surprisingly resilient, and the more we fight and the more we cling together and help each other, the better that future's going to be. So don't give up. If life puts you down, don't get despondent. Roll up your sleeves and chin check the motherfuckers.
That's right.
That's
honestly,
so good. Yeah,
I agree with you because all of us adding our voice to the chorus makes a difference. It really does. It makes a huge difference. And that's why I choose to share my stories. That's why I listen to other people's stories, because I'm curious about what they've been through. And, do we share trauma?
Right.
We're trauma bonding,
No, I so appreciate those words, Jamie. And like, I agree. It is really hard sometimes. And like, I doom scroll sometimes. I get a little bit like, oh my gosh, like how are we going to pull through this? Like, how are we going to, and I mean, like, sometimes it's good to be aware of what's going on around the world, but like, sometimes you just got to put the phone down and like, go for like whatever is soothing to you. Like, go for a walk, go realize, what are we fighting for? Go call your, your best friend, call your mom if you can call your mom. I say that with asterisks. Remember what are we doing here? Like, we are in this. It's a marathon, right? Like, I hate to be cheesy, but like, it's the end goal. It's a long process. And like, I think that what we see now is like oh God, I hate when I pull to my old Christian, the groans of whatever, the groans of something, the changing, right? Like there's a shift happening, and like people are sick of it, and there's, I just agree with you what you said. Like, there are things worth fighting for. You can't give up. You can't get cynical. You can't throw in the towel.
It's not futile.
It's not. No. And if you feel that way, take a break. Catch your breath. Do something that you feel makes you feel good, and like
do some grounding or something.
Yeah, and then get back in there, because like we're in this big thing together, and like it's growing. And as much as we feel defeated at times, like it's every single time I check in with like the Pew Research or whatever, like there's things changing, and so that's exciting. Baby.
Two last quick things before I go, and then this really is it for this call, at least.
Hey.
I'll be back. One, the information age has brought the worries of the world to us all. We know everything that's going wrong around the world, not just down the street. That's why everything seems to be terrible.
And that's not normal. That was never normal.
Yeah.
Right? No. This is stuff we got to adapt to. This is going to take some evolving, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not used to anything bigger than 200 people, and you're dealing with the whole world's problem. Oh, no, a terrible thing happened in Kuala Lumpur, the worst. Anyway, but on the second thing, and this really is the last point, while it's not going to happen, man, the book of Revelations is metal as fuck. I'd like to see a beast with 7 heads, upon its head 7 crowns, and in its mouth the words of blasphemy. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I want to meet this, like, the whore Babylon. She seems cool.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's like
I always love that picture that the woman. Have you seen the picture of the woman riding, like the whore actually riding the 7-headed beast with the horns and stuff? Yeah, that's
I'm sure.
Really cool stuff.
I don't know. It does seem metal as fuck. And
it's metal. It's like really metal. Like I need that on a t-shirt.
It's a book. Yeah, it's weird. And surprising how much emphasis gets put on that one little, thing at the end, because even as the Bible as a whole, I agree, it's an ancient piece of literature, and there's some like old like poems and all sorts of things. But man, those evangelicals and Jehovah's Witnesses really love that last one.
They like to harp on the bad stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for calling in, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie.
We always appreciate it. Yeah, we always appreciate hearing from you. And I made a prophecy. I said, your voice is always oddly soothing. And there he like made like a very soothing statement that like we have things to fight for. So,
right. It's true. I think that he was really remarking on something that I think was important, is that they kind of get you in, like I said, they kind of make everything just seem like it's always going to be bad. So what's the point of trying? Because Jehovah's Witnesses, they're not allowed to like speak up about anything. They don't recommend them watching the news, probably because of the CSA like court cases against them, but also because they don't want them watching the news. Like there's just things they don't want them privy to, and it's not right. Not right to do that to people.
I think totally. Like there's that part of that information control again, right? Like that bite model, part of the tendencies of a high control group is like controlling the information that we have. And then like on the other side of it is kind of what Jamie was talking about, like this absolute like being bombarded with information. I think like at times, like he had mentioned like that part of like our evolution as like Homo sapiens, like he had mentioned like groups of up to 200 people. I think that's like what is the common kind of agreement, that like humans are able to sustain and keep relationships with up to about 200 people or something like that, like group sizes. Well, 200 people is a lot smaller than like 8 and however many billion people are on the world. So if you feel overwhelmed by the news that is coming in, like that makes sense. So
no wonder.
And
we weren't meant to like know exactly what was happening in China.
And it's not
instantaneous. It's just,
I mean,
it's
not to
great.
say
it's
like
a hell
we
of a
shouldn't.
Tool.
It's not to say that we shouldn't care about things, but like doom scrolling's a thing. I've been victim of it before too, and so like taking some time to like shut that down and go do something.
I've put myself into like, I think people maybe sometimes get this. I don't know, that I give this appearance off that maybe I'm super strong or something. I just want people to understand that it can be super painful and it can be scary at times. You know, I used to believe in demon possession and demons following me around, you know, on top of the end of the world coming. So you really put yourself in a little tizzy with all of this stuff. And it's
and if you imagine
detrimental.
Like, the amount of news coming in, and then you're also trying to take every single like trending topic and make it work in with your worldview of trying to make it make sense in the book of Revelation. Like I can see what that's a lot of undue stress, I would think.
That's why I did like some of the stuff. I don't even look at Revelation much anymore, because now that I realize what everything is, I don't really pay too much towards some of that stuff because it's so far removed. I feel like I could kind of almost do the same thing looking at history and write some wild something or other about what was happening at the time. You know, not trying to be mean, but you're 100
I appreciate what you're saying.
Jesus.
And to use this as an opportunity to like talk about some of the stuff that you've done online. I like to look at the Bible now as ancient stories, right? Like this is actually kind of cool. We have this pretty well preserved piece of literature, this library of ancient literature. Yeah. And so like when you look at that, and like, yes, it affects a large portion of the world. But what you actually have is like this literature is like pretty fascinating, and like the different kind of societies it went through and how they even changed it's kind of interesting. And like what was the dating, and like I can see why. I know for myself, I've been out of Christianity for a few years, but like when a really good like informational thing comes up about the writing of some whatever, like that one caller had said, the Second Peter, I'm going to listen to it because it's still really super interesting. But I can look at it now from a state of separation of being like, okay, so this is what some person from like the 2nd century thought was super important, and that's kind of cool because that's a long time ago. And I can
like
also
100 years later plus is
what
did they think? Okay, that's cool. What's you can the read it between his 100 and my 1,000. Not much, because I probably have more in front of me than he does, honestly.
And like read other ancient history too, or ancient like literature. Read the old Roman like novels. Like they're fascinating, and like they really are enlightening. God. So that's why I wanted to bring it
tie into the Bible because all these cultures are intertwining with each other. So it makes sense. I didn't realize, like, no wonder Paul mentions Zeus and Bacchus and this other stuff, because this is like other important things that are happening at the time. So it makes sense. They weren't so opposed. It wasn't so divided like Christianity kind of is right now.
It's not like what the apologists will say to you that there was
like
Yeah, it's not
We
this whole
understand
thing
these
that was
gods exist.
it was this whole thing that was happening on its own. Like, that's of course that's not true. Like, in a
vacuum of some
yeah, in a
sorts.
vacuum. That's the word I was looking
No,
for.
it was not in a vacuum. They all
No.
borrowed and crossed crossed each other's paths.
So
And
if you're having a hard time trying to, like, when you're reading the Bible and you're like, this sounds so like, this is it, pick up like a book of the Nag Hammadi library, pick up some ancient Tacitus, like just read anything from the ancient Near East, and you're going to be like, oh wow, this is just how people were kind of thinking at the time. Read one of the other apocryphon of Peter, like read the other ones that almost made it into the Bible. Like the book of Revelation that got into the Bible is not the be all end all of that kind of literature at the time. Like, these things will help process that. So I mean, I don't know. I've said this, and I know it's kind of like frustrating. I like the Bible way more now that I'm an atheist.
I do too.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, it really is, because you kind of get a glimpse of people at that particular time. What were they going through? What were they thinking? And regardless if, like, for instance, I love Ashra, God's wife in the Bible.
You've mentioned lots about like the ancient goddesses, and it's so cool. I didn't know any of that, so
I didn't either until TikTok. But regardless if I believe it or not, that's not the point. The point is I can look at women from thousands of years ago. Who were they worshiping? What was their life like? What were their religious practices like? And I can kind of put myself back, like, of course she would have a goddess. Like, you're giving birth, you need somebody to take care of you. You're going to need ointments, you're going to need stuff for birth pains. I mean, this is what women were doing back in the day. Midwives, taking care of people, taking care of the children, everything at the home. That's what she would hunt. She did everything. And because maybe the man wasn't always around, it didn't always, just like they aren't, just like they aren't today. Huh.